It's time now for Down on the Corner with Dale Hoffman, North Central Arkansas's premier news talk program.
Good morning, North Central Arkansas, Southern Missouri. It is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021, 7 a.m.
It is, and it's not raining right now. It's not raining right now.
At the moment.
It's exciting. It's not raining right now.
Yeah, I don't know what time it was, but did I hear thunder last night? Roll over back to sleep. Didn't worry much about it.
You did.
Bob said it rained pretty hard.
Yeah. By the house it did.
Did it? Wow. It's a little bit muggy out there today. You can kind of...
It is. I had to turn the fan on. Even though we were below the temperature, I had to turn the fan on in here for a little bit. Suck that humidity out a little bit.
I checked it in the house last night. I think it was like at 83%. I thought, because I really don't run the air conditioner that much, just for me. But when it gets a little bit muggy, I'll dry it out a little bit,
You almost have to. I mean,
yeah.
Not good to let the humidity get too high in the house.
I've got my big professional reel-to-reel won't run when it gets humid. Literally, it won't run because the belts on it are felt and they get a little bit swollen. So you have to bring the humidity down about 70, 69% to get it to run because you just won't run. Climate control.
I don't have that problem.
Anyway, welcome to Down on the Corner program. And hey, you know what we got coming on? We got the new chief of police and the assistant on there.
Yeah, they're sitting over there on the side. I should have brought one on to do the trumpet.
Should have had somebody do the trumpet.
Yeah.
But we could turn the lights and cameras around for a minute, couldn't we?
No, I ain't gonna go through all that.
Between doing it to the judge and the mayor and now the police chief. And
well, we got to break them into. Yeah. They come in those days that I'm a little rowdy. I'm surprised the mayor didn't light me up.
Plus, Bob Rector will tell you you're going to run for school board.
Yeah.
You're in a world of hurt.
Yeah. I live there, and half the time I don't even open my mouth to do it. Everybody does it for me, Inner foot A and a mouth B.
Looking for trouble? Don't need to. It finds me, right?
There you go.
Hey, we're enjoying Brewed Awakening coffee here at the studio. You can do the same thing with 3 locations to serve you the best coffee in town. Of course, you got Baxter Regional Medical Center's main lobby. Follow the COVID-19 guidelines if there's any left. I don't know what the CDC's pulling now, but anyway, follow whatever the regulations are at the hospital main entrance lobby, Brewed Awakening Coffee. Then you got Bomber Boulevard and 62 East Plaza out by Anytime Fitness. The best coffee in town is Brewed Awakening. But don't take my word for it. Be sure to check them out. The drive-thrus are up and running. What's it, 7:02 already? They've been open for a while. You can enjoy a mocha, latte, frappuccino. You can get your pumpkin spice. Got a friend who works at the hospital, loves the pumpkin spice. Even in May or in June.
All the foo-foo flavors, they've got them. But the most important things, they've got cinnamon rolls. Muffins. They got muffins, turnovers. Those are the important things there.
Yes, apple turnovers, cherry turnovers. And I really enjoyed the muffins. I've had the banana nut, and believe it or not, the pumpkin was good too.
I bet the banana nut was pretty good. I bet that was good.
And so was the pumpkin. I was really pleased. But Mike and the staff do a great job at all 3 locations. As Mike says, hey, we are real coffee.
Real coffee.
Mike gets the freshest roasted coffee beans money can buy. Place an order. Hey, dude, roast them and ship them. Here they come. If you'd like to have Brewed Awakening coffee at your home, then all you have to do is stop by. He says, can I buy a half pound or 1 pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds, whatever you need. A little bit more expensive than what you expect to pay at the grocery store, but well worth the extra money. Brewed Awakening coffee, the best coffee in town. If you're not drinking Brewed Awakening, you're just drinking muddy water. Like I say, Mike and the staff do a great job at all 3 locations. Check them out today, Brewed Awakening coffee. And just can't say enough good things. Mike does a great job. I remember he had the little bitty coffee shop right there across from Flashbacks on Highway 62. And now he's got 3 big, very thriving businesses.
All 3 of them are busy.
Yeah. And the one in the hospital here is really nice. I think I've been by it once or twice, but it's really nice from what I hear.
It's pretty.
Once again, be sure to check out Brewed Awakening Coffee, the best coffee in town. Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas bring the morning prayer each and every day. With all our respect, Roller Funeral Homes, 29 in the state of Arkansas to serve you, with 1 in Memphis, Tennessee. Here in town, you talk to Brad, Bruce, Charlotte, Chris, anyone there can help you. And, of course, pre-planning. Then you have the passing of a family member, loved one, friend, whatever it may be. Roller Funeral Homes, very professional, caring, and loving. They will get you through a very hard situation and they're very professional. I just can't say enough good things about the Roller Funeral Home people. Roller Funeral Homes, with all our respect. Let's pause now for our morning prayer. Heavenly Father, today as we talk with our police department, I pray that people watching can fully understand exactly what the police do. First, they're not the enemy. Second, they respond to all types of calls, from an elderly person that has fallen to major vehicle accidents with multiple fatalities. The police protect our schools, they protect our neighborhoods, they chase down and track down drugs and drug dealers. Yet if a criminal accuses the police of something, it's the police's fault. With the news media, we'll scramble to get the police's dirty laundry, so to speak. But critics of police never look at what led up to an arrest. Lord, no matter what, policemen deserve our respect. If we obey the laws, they won't bother us. I pray you help us to remember that. It's my prayer today. Amen. Roller Funeral Homes of Arkansas bring the morning prayer each and every day with all our respect. Roller Funeral Homes.
And now,
brace yourself.
All right, you got to pay attention to this.
Next time you get to do it.
This is yours. You got to do the trumpet. Dun dun dun. The weather. You can do that, right? Absolutely. All right. We got him next round.
Maybe there's a law against this. Hey, there you go. Disturbing the peace. There it is.
That is bad.
I'm laughing, though.
Of course.
Morning Weather is brought to you by the Z-Team. Bob and Linda Zador for all your real estate needs, 870-405-0793. Realtors you'd recommend to a friend, the website retiretoarkansas.net. Take a peek at the White River. Hey, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Wow.
Pretty day today.
Wow, look how far you can see the river downstream.
You can see the river's a little dirty, though.
Yeah, muddied
it's
up a little
brown.
bit. The camera's mounted in Marion County, Arkansas, looking into Baxter County, Arkansas, the other side of the river, the 62-412 bridge on the left side of the screen. And, of course, the city of Cotter, Arkansas. You see the baseball park, Railroad Museum there, and the picnic area at Big Spring Park. And the wonderful little city of Cotter, Arkansas. You can go to retiretoarkansas.net, check out the website, the live webcam, I should say. At the lower right-hand part of the screen, there's a little camera icon. Scooter moves the mouse a bit. You probably see it down there at the lower right-hand side. And you can take pictures of the live feed all throughout the day. And you share it with family and friends when it's a beautiful sunrise and clear skies. I'm back in the wintertime, beautiful blue sky, you know. And just share it with family, friends, loved ones, and use it for a screensaver, backdrop, whatever.
My favorite is when there's a little fog out there and the sun just starts cutting through that right in between phase. Is really pretty. Really
nice. While you're at retiredarkansas.net, be sure to check out all the listings with the Z-Team. Bob and Linda Zador. All the MLS numbers are out there, the MLS listings. 130 of them.
Yeah.
Like 4 years ago, there's over 1,000, you know. Now we're down to about 100. But anyway, for Arkansas and Missouri, from Gainesville to Mountain View, Missouri, back to Mountain View, Arkansas, to Marshall, and all points in between, the Z-Team is ready to serve you today. So give them a call, 870-405-0793. The website, retiretoarkansas.net. Morning Weather is brought to you by the Z-Team. Right now, I'm showing 66 degrees both in Mountain Home and Harrison. It's 70 in Batesville, 68 at Salem, 66 at Calico Rock and Flippin, 68 at Marshall, 68 in West Plains, but 71 in St. Louis already. Poplar Bluff at 68, 69 at Springfield. And in contrast, Watford City, North Dakota, they've had a pretty mild winter. They're at 57 degrees right now. I got one son working up there right now. And nice.
Oh, is he back up there?
Yeah, Yeah, went back up. On the radar, various showers throughout the country. We'll start up in Idaho and Montana. They've had a heat wave going on up there. They've been well over 100 degrees a couple of days up there. So you see shower activity from Boise back over to Missoula, Montana. Then we go over to Bismarck to Fargo with some thunderstorms there. And some shower activity northeast Minnesota. Shower activity from Pennsylvania, New York, up into Vermont and New Hampshire. That's not going to affect us here at all. Scrolling in and taking a look at Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, you can see, just north of Austin, Texas, back up to Dallas, and then in southeast Arkansas over to east central Arkansas, affecting the Memphis area to the south of Memphis. A lot of it going into Mississippi right now. We'll zoom in a little bit tighter and see what we have going on here. Oh, south of Fort Smith, but north of Texarkana, so that's Highway 71 that's affected right there by most of it, a little bit around Hot Springs, and you see this big cluster of rain and showers here stretching from, where would that be? Just from Stuttgart down to Pine Bluff, back over to, about Oxford, Mississippi, and it goes on up into the Memphis area to the east of Memphis, so I-40 would be affected there, I-55, And it looks like I-40 from Little Rock all the way to Memphis. Then you'd have a little bit on, what's that road over Hot Springs? 70, 270, something like that. I forget what it was.
Don't make me a liar.
Oh, wow. Look at a lot of rain in Mississippi and southeast Arkansas, southwest Arkansas. Northern Arkansas, we're not too bad a shape. There's a shower east of Mountain Home, a shower to the east, northeast of Mountain View to the northwest of Batesville, shower activity around Pocahontas. It's kind of following the 167 highway area, Little Rock, Batesville, Pocahontas. Then on up into Missouri, Poplar Bluff, getting a little bit of shower activity. It's going to affect Highway 67, 160, and Highway 60. Interstate 55 at Cape Girardeau with some rain going on right there. A little bit of rain at Rolla between Springfield, Lebanon, and Rolla on I-44. Not much on Highway 65 going to Harrison, then on up to Branson and Springfield. And then I-70 is not bad at all from KC to St. Louis. Southern Illinois, with shower activity all throughout there, affecting I-64 from East St. Louis east and I-57 to Cairo, I-24 at Paducah, a little bit of shower activity going on right there. Wow, rainy day. Flood watch boxes for most of central and southern Arkansas. We're not included in that, but you see some. They have anything from a flood watch, flood warning, flash flood watch, flash flood warning. There's 4 or 5 different little colors. If the road's flooded, don't drive through it.
Pretty good thunderstorm coming through.
Yeah. So you can see it right here where the heavier showers are going into Mississippi right there. Alrighty, 50% chance of showers today, 40 tonight, Wednesday 50%, Wednesday night 40%, Thursday 50%, partly cloudy Thursday night, 20% on Friday, then Saturday a 30% chance. It just goes on and on and on.
Good chance of rain.
Checking iDrive Arkansas, we have some slow traffic to the west of Texarkana. Then, of course, you've got I-40 at 55 in West Memphis with the I-40 bridge shut down due to structure damage there. And let's take a look, see what's going on Mountain Home this morning. Well, let's take a look. Highway 5 North, let's check the junction there. And a little bit of traffic, not as much as we've had. You see the cloud cover back towards the west there and the Exxon station there. Traffic going through. Oh, and a reminder on Highway 5 North where Arkansas Department of Transportation is paving. Please give them a break, slow down. I think we had a worker hit and hurt, and we don't want that. So RDOT's doing their job improving our roads, so let's give them a break, slow down, move over, stop, take extra time, whatever. Cardinal Drive looking to the east, you see Century 21 Lemac Real Estate right here, minimal traffic going through town right now. Club Boulevard looking down the hill, should be minimal here. Take 2, minimal here. You see Clay Maxey Chevrolet right here, and of course Baxter Regional will be back over here among the hills. And traffic moving pretty freely right now in Mountain Home, Missouri, Department of Transportation. Not much going on there, not much rain going on, so the highways seem to be in good shape. Norfolk Lake sitting at 572.21. They're 20 feet above the full pool of 552. Bull Shoals a little bit fuller. They're 30 feet above 659, sitting at 688.95. Pollen index today is 6. Grasses, mulberry, and walnut. Your culprit, 7.1 tomorrow. Then the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 126 points, closing at 34,630.24. Crude oil prices are stinging my billfold, but they did drop to 68.56. Ouch. Remember what was negative 18 last year? You were actually having to pay people to store it.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
That didn't last long. Be sure to check out the Dream Network. Dream Network, give help to children and families. The Dream Network believes every child deserves a dream. Our mission is to provide love, support, and necessities to children in need. We do this through various projects throughout the year. They have highlighted down here some of the activities that they have. They have Bibles and gifts. They've helped with the furnace, Heat for a Family. Holidays of Hope is one of their activities. And if you can donate, go to dreamnetwork.org, hit the donate button, and give today. On this date in history, James Earl Ray, suspect in the Martin Luther King assassination, is arrested. And we'll scroll down here. I've got about 45 seconds before 7:15. We'll get right to the other stuff here. And let's see, in 1632, Muhammad, founder of Islam, dies. I don't see any resurrection there, do you? Senator Robert F. Kennedy is buried on this day in 1968. I remember that assassination was very sad. 1966, the National Football League and the American Football League announced their merger. You remember the AFL, NFL? Yep. And then it became the NFL with the AFC and the NFC. And so, hey, we did good. It's coming up on 7:15. We've got our new chief of police and assistant chief, Bubba Jones and Eddie Griffin, coming up. So after the break. Be right back.
It's a matter of taste, and at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home, delicious taste is all you will find. Enjoy signature crafted pizzas and appetizers, as well as oven-baked sandwiches, quesadillas, salads, pastas, and desserts. When it comes time to relax or meet up with friends, Brick Oven Pizza has you covered. Handmade cocktails and ice-cold beer are always available at their fully stocked bar. No time to dine in? No problem. Call in your order and use Brick Oven's convenient drive-thru window for all your to-go orders. It's a matter of taste at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home. Get the only mower with suspension technology at Mower Warehouse in Mountain Home, where they accept mower trade-ins, have flexible financing options, and services all brands and models. That's Mower Warehouse, located on Buzzard Roost in Mountain Home.
When I grow up, I want to save lives, like a superhero, and show up when people needed me.
When I grow up, I want to do animations. I want to create characters that can fly.
No matter what it is you want out of life, there is a path to get there.
When I grow up, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I know I want to go to college.
Arkansas State University Mountain Home. Take your first step at asumh.edu.
Hi, it's Bob Zadora of the Z-Team at Century 21 Lemac Realty, 1024 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. As you know, we are all facing some unusual times. Be calm. Be smart. The business world of real estate will continue. We may have some delays and some changes that are out of our control, but life will go on, and this too will pass. Give thanks for this wonderful country that we live in. Give thanks for the neighbors that we share. If there's anything we can do to give you a hand, give us a call. 870-405-0793. And check out our website, retiredtoarkansas.net.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
So there I was, naked as a jaybird in the shower with soap in my hair and eyes when I lost water pressure down to a dribble. I immediately grabbed my towel and dialed up Jake at JM Sales and Pump Service. Jake can ride over and fix my water pressure. Now I can take my showers with confidence. Just call Jake.
For all your sales and pump needs, just call Jake at JM Sales and Pump Service, 870-431-5445. He offers high-quality stay-right products.
At Connor Family Funeral Home, our goal is to provide our friends and neighbors with caring, compassionate services at an affordable price. Connor Family is a full-service funeral home that offers a wide range of services to meet your family's needs and customs. We are the first on-site crematory in the area and provide many options to memorialize your loved ones and address all the details for a more personalized service. Where compassion and affordability meet, Connor Family Funeral Home in Mountain Home.
718, we want to welcome our new Chief of Police and Assistant Chief. We got Eddie Griffin and Bubba Jones. Gentlemen, welcome and congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And so, wow, how many years of service for you guys now? Overall in police work?
Well, we're both well over 20. I think I'm at 24.
And I'm at 23. So
long time.
Wow.
My Louisiana math says that's 47 between the two of us.
I started to say you served down in Louisiana too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, okay, I'll hit you with my famous question that I ask all the political candidates. You got a genie in a bottle and you each get 3 wishes, but it can only concern your job in the city of Mountain Home if you had 3 wishes from the genie in bottle as PD chief.
Well, you know, I feel like we've already received some of the wishes I would wish for. You know, when the citizens of Mountain Home passed the public safety tax, that was huge for our department as well as the fire department, and it's just really brought us up to date, and we're continuing to improve because of that. The you know, of course, we've always had great support here, but one area I have seen that I wish was a little different. You know, it seems like a lot of folks that may have at one time wanted to get in police work are choosing not to now. But I wish we had more good applicants putting in. We've made some great hires recently. Very fortunate to have the people we hire, but you know, it would also always be good to have a nice big pool. And you know, people ought to understand, being a police officer in Mountain Home, Arkansas, there's no place better to be a police officer. So you know, that, and I don't know, that's only two, and I can't really think of a third right now, because I mean, things are really good. You know, it's we're very fortunate. Bubba can probably help me out with the third.
Well, it kind of builds on what you were going to say, is just continued acceptance within our community. I'm floored every day when we go out and hear stories from the guys in the street and everything else of, you're going to get stopped at some point during the day and be thanked for your service, and that's not going on all over the country right now. So our community has truly shown
in Ferguson,
support.
Missouri.
Yeah,
It started in Ferguson, Missouri.
Right. But it's been tremendous in Mountain Home, and it hasn't let up in well over a year. I mean, we get stopped constantly. So just the continuation of that, which on the other side of that tells me through this, I believe we've done a good job. We've continued to serve the public and do a good job at doing our police work. So
your vehicles and equipment are improving?
Oh, tremendously. I mean, you've probably seen around town, you know, we're driving going to the Ford Explorer.
Yeah. How's that working out?
Very good. We have great vehicles, great. And it's not just the vehicles that you see. We have, I think there's 4 public safety officers on staff. You know, we've got, we've updated our computer reporting system, just all across the board, where we're making huge gains, and it's because of the Citizens Mountain Home giving us that opportunity.
You know, and when I was first approached, we were still doing radio at Mountain Talk. When I was approached, I think it was Travis Dover came in, said, "Yeah, I'll help, sure." You know, I've lived here since 1972. You know, I remember when the edge of town was where College and 62 meet, and that was Schneider's Grocery right there with the tattoo parlor. You know. That was the only place in Baxter County that was open past 9 o'clock. You go down and get a gallon of milk at 10:30 when you ran out, you know. But, you know, and I remember the downtown square on Saturday mornings, you couldn't walk down there, you know. Yep. But that was the city back in 1972, you know. But now how we've expanded with Walmart and Home Depot. And people don't realize, and this is one thing, when you get a call, what's your license plate? Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Vermont. You don't ask where you're from.
Right.
You respond.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a great place to be. It really is. Even aside from police work, I mean, I was born in Mountain Home, so right. I mean, there's no place better to be.
Yeah. So, you know, we just got to realize well, let's look at your territory. How many would it
square
be
miles?
Square miles?
You know,
have you figured it out?
No, I've been told what it was, but I can't remember. If I told you the amount, it would be wrong. It'd be a total guess. But you know, one thing about Mountain Home, you can get from one end of town to the other pretty quickly. Yeah. So it's still
is Walmart in the city limits?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's city right there.
It is. It's still obviously not a big city, but you've probably heard this from Chief Manuel when he was here, but. We have a total of 37 officers, 32 full-time, 5 part-time, and that's in the top probably 15% of size of officers in the country. Wow. You know, we're actually a large department. It's just most people think of, you know, Chicago, New York, or whatever, but the vast majority of departments have 4 or 5 officers, 6 officers, because of all the small communities across the country. So we're on the larger side, but you know, it's we have a lot of great things going on, and you know, another thing that Chief Manuel started was he saw had the vision to get us into the elite portion, the certification that I mean, there's just a lot of things we're doing that's really far more progressive than what a lot of people may see out here in you know, the community.
Wow. Yeah, and you're starting to see now, if you watch national news. In fact, I saw a grant come out yesterday through the COPS program federal money coming out that they are pushing police departments to get accredited now, because it ups your training standards. It holds you to higher standards than base law of what you have to do, which in turn, makes your department a better place.
Sure.
And so we feel like we're ahead of that curve already because we did this beforehand. So
let's bring up the George Floyd thing. That way we can sweep it under the rug and move on. We all saw the clips. We don't know what's going on. We see that moment, but what happened 30 minutes prior?
Yeah.
What went wrong?
Well, you when something's wrong, you got to own up and say it was wrong. Once he was in custody, once we effect an arrest, the person is in custody. Once he was handcuffed, he should have been set up and held there. The officer, he was wrong. What happened before that is really somewhat irrelative. It doesn't matter what the situation. We're authorized to use the amount of force to effect the arrest. Once they're arrested, you got to look out for their well-being. It's just that simple. And oftentimes you don't see the whole picture, but that's the standard, that's the industry standard.
Yeah.
You use only the amount of force necessary, and that's it.
Cut and dry. No. So when you guys pull somebody over, how should we react? I've talked to Chief Manuel and I've talked to Sheriff Montgomery, so I want to hear it now, the new chief, new assistant. Okay, so I blow a stop sign. Okay, say I'm on Cardinal, First Street, something like that. I blow a stop sign and I get caught. What do I do?
Well, I know it's nerve-wracking to get stopped by the police, but just sit in your car with your hands on the wheel and wait for the officer to get up there and just interact the way we are. Don't be hostile. Don't just talk the way we're talking, and he'll probably ask for your driver's license and insurance registration and provide it, and just go forward from there. But just don't jump out of your car. Don't just sit there.
Shut the engine off? Question mark.
Yeah. Well, I never really cared if they shut the engine off. Mainly just be courteous and sit there with your hands where I can see them, and provide what I ask for.
Okay, now let's say you're concealed carry. Do we show the card to the officer? What if there is a loaded weapon in the car and you're legal, but you get pulled over? How do we handle that situation?
Well before you always would hear about concealed carry or open carry. This is Arkansas. Everybody has guns. I always preferred it, and I'm sure Bubba's the same way. If I stop somebody, just tell me, hey, I've got a loaded gun in the back in the glove box near me, and just that heads up to, it's just nice to know. But yes, if when we run somebody, it tells if they have a concealed carry. But just when the officer gets up to the car, regardless of concealed carry or not, just tell them straight up, hey, I have a pistol in the glove box, or I have a hunting rifle in the back, getting ready to go hunting, whatever. Just be up front. What do you think, Bubba?
I feel the same way. Just let them know. And general public a lot of times thinks, oh, that's gonna startle the officer or upset him, but it happens a lot. Now, that's here in Mountain Home. It could be different in other parts of the country. So realize the answers we're giving you right now is Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Yeah.
So things are handled differently in different parts. But
if I'm traveling, let's say I'm going to Nashville, I'm on I-40, the chances of having to use a weapon when you're traveling like that are probably very, very minimal. So if I have a weapon, a lot of times I'll take the cylinder out, because most generally I'm going to be using it for target practice or something like that rather than as a weapon. So I know we used to go to Thanksgiving at Poplar Bluff. We'd take a Ruger 1022. We had a Ruger Bearcat. I had a 44 mag with a 10-inch barrel. Then I'd break them down. The shotgun, we had an Ithaca bottom load pump, and we just in case there was a question, that way we're safely hauling the gun. We're not using them as a weapon. Now it's a different story with everything going on, and so I can. the concealed carry, don't they have a little card like a driver's license card or something?
They do,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
just communicate to the officer what you've got there, and it's from our standpoint, it's far more scary if it's a surprise to us. I mean, just tell us what you've got. And,
Just be open and up
yeah,
front.
just when I often have a weapon with me, pretty much all the time. And
But with you, it's illegal.
and believe it or not, I have been stopped before.
Have you?
Oh
Are you
yeah,
kidding?
yeah. Sometimes I have a lead foot like everybody else, and I'm held accountable. But as soon as the officer gets
Bubba,
up,
quit pulling over the Jeep, will you?
as soon as the officer gets up to my window, I roll the window down, have my hands where he can see. He can see them, and say, let him know I've got a loaded weapon in the car.
Yeah.
And it's
I went through a
it's courteous
checkpoint the other day, and I carry a concealed, and I told him, hey, I have a concealed
Yeah, how'd they
carry
handle it?
permit, and he made me a deal. He said, you don't touch yours, I won't touch mine.
Right.
I said, "Very good." I thought that was a fair deal.
Absolutely.
No problem. I have no intentions on it.
I don't blame you.
I like the theory.
exactly. So
But it made light of it, and,
It does.
and he knew it wasn't a big deal. So, and most people with concealed carry permit, I mean, they've went through some classes. It's a little different ballgame.
Well, yeah. I mean, and don't they have a background check through that too?
There
FBI
is,
check or something?
Yeah, they have to get a good background and all that. So
Yeah.
so there's checks and balances.
All right, we're coming up on, what is it, 7:31? Let's go ahead and take a break. All right, be
All
right
right.
back with the chief and assistant chief right after this. Take a step back in time when going to a barbershop meant more than just getting a haircut. Come into Legionnaire Barbershop today, a unique gentleman's barbershop. Get back in style with 2 experienced licensed barbers who are trained in tonsorial arts and lock removal and are happy to give you a straight razor shave. Legionnaire Barbershop is veteran-owned and operated and located at 1041 Highland Circle, Suite 55 in Mountain Home. For a full, old-fashioned barbershop experience, stop by Legionnaire Barbershop today.
When you think about Hospice of the Ozarks, it's our desire that you think about finding a way to live your life to the fullest while living with a serious illness. If you ever need help and support, we provide a team of healthcare professionals and volunteers that will support your physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life while doing the same for your family and caregivers in the comfort of your own home or wherever you call home. When you think about Hospice of the Ozarks, we hope that you grant us permission to walk on the journey with you. Your not-for-profit option since 1979.
When you're out of town, make sure your pet is with someone who will love them as much as you do. At 201 Pet Salon and Resort, your pet is cared for just as they would be at home. 201 Pet Salon and Resort is the only all-suite climate-controlled and air-filtered boarding facility in the area with private and spacious rooms to keep your pet relaxed. And with over 3/4 of an acre of fenced play area, your pet will receive the proper exercise they deserve. 201 also offers professional grooming services. Your best friend is in good hands at 201 Pet Salon and Resort in Mountain Home.
At Letty's Mexican Restaurant, we are here to keep you safe during these difficult times, as well as serve you the best Mexican food in the area. That's why we've installed a convenient pickup window for all your to-go and pickup orders, as well as a covered outdoor seating area. Give us a call at 870-435-2532 to order your next meal. And don't forget, Letty's also provides catering for small parties or big events. Experience the best in Mexican cuisine. Letty's in Gassville.
$7:34 almost, visiting with our new Chief of Police, Eddie Griffin, and Assistant Chief Bubba Jones. Crime in Mountain Home, drugs, domestic violence is up, I hear, across the county. And what causes, I mean, okay, let's talk about drugs. Bubba, you've been involved a lot with some of the DEA, haven't you? You've worked for some drug enforcement agencies before?
Well, a time or two while I was in the schools, yes, definitely.
Yeah. I do not understand why people want that stuff in their bloodstream. Let's go back when I was working in the garage. I was working on a car one time and I turned and one of my coworkers was cleaning a brake bleeding valve with carburetor cleaner and it backsplashed into my left eye. Oh, did it burn? Okay. I was working at Harold's Auto Parts one time and a guy came in and got a gallon of battery acid and a case of carburetor cleaner. And I think back at the time it was David Small. I think it was Arkansas State Police DEA. I said, why would they want a gallon of battery acid and a case of carburetor? I said, meth lab.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're snorting that stuff?
Well,
you drop it on your jeans, it'll burn a hole in them.
Yeah. Those are agents that are used to filter and clean the product that they're making. But yes, you're still getting some of the substances in it. But you know, Dale, you won't understand because it's a different mindset for folks that are in that place in their life and using drugs like that. They don't have the same mindset that you do.
Okay, I don't know if I got
and so it is difficult.
You know,
many
Jamie
times.
Leach at First Step at Baxter Regional.
Yeah.
Okay, she does show about every 6 weeks, and she said, you take a penny, put it here, and put fentanyl in Lincoln's ear, that's a fatal dose. 2 days later, Montgomery was here, sheriff, and he says, now cofentanyl's 10 times more lethal than fentanyl.
Yeah.
Okay, you put fentanyl on Lincoln's ear and a penny, Jamie said, is a fatal dose. Why on earth cofentanol? What's going on, guys?
So, you know, if you know a lot about the drug process that
Which
happens.
I have no idea.
Well, it may start with oxycodones, but that high they quickly lose that high from taking that, and so they have to step up. So they continue to step up. Then it goes from that to heroin. From heroin it goes on to fentanyl. Now that's a lethal dose to us, but it's no different than a person that uses alcohol, that you build up a tolerance to it, and they may be able to digest a small amount of fentanyl that would kill any of us that, you know, don't do drugs on a regular basis.
So is the body working a defense system, or is it an immune system working this? I mean,
you're above my pay grade on that one, exactly how it goes. I can just tell you the process that has been taught of how it happens, but the danger for us in law enforcement is if you don't know it's there, you know, and you're having to go into a car or something like that and it's there, that you know, you can have an overdose of a police officer happen simply by searching a car that doesn't know it's there. So naloxone for a lot of time we were carrying naloxone, and it wasn't necessarily for the person that may overdose. It was in case some of our officers ran into that in a vehicle search or a house or something like that, and wasn't aware that it was there to save our own officers. So, and that's been going on around the country for quite some time.
Has there been any problems with this medical marijuana?
You know, I haven't heard of any recently, and Eddie and I both are fairly new into this position and digging through a lot of it, but I haven't heard our street officers say that they've had a lot of problems with it so far.
Yeah.
So.
You know, what people want to do in their own time. Years ago, I had a gentleman that wanted me to push for recreational marijuana, be pro for it on radio. And I said, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've had, you know, certainly haven't had any more issues from the legal marijuana than we have the illegal marijuana. But, you know, I think a lot of the narcotics officers are probably focusing more on the meth and heroin and fentanyl and that sort of thing.
So what's on the street? Heroin, meth, cocaine, pills?
In Mountain Home for many years, the bigger issue has been pills and meth. You know, the opioid form that we see is in pills traditionally, not heroin, and now a little bit in fentanyl. But the meth is probably, from what people think of, you know, illegal drugs, our biggest issue. And to give you an idea of how much is out there, when Bubba and I started, you could buy a gram of meth, which is an equal sugar packets, 1 gram, for $100. Well, you can buy a gram now for far less, probably less than $50. Oh. And at one time, a lot of the drugs we get come out of Northwest Arkansas, Tulsa, over that way. So people will go and buy an ounce of meth for $500. Well, an ounce has 28 grams in it, so you know it's the market's so flooded with it, it's cheap, you know. And you mentioned meth labs earlier. We really don't see meth labs around here anymore because the meth that is coming to Mountain Home is coming out of Mexico, from big ephedrine labs where they're converting it to meth down there, and it's very pure. The quality is far better than what they were making in the meth lab. When I talk about the quality, the purity of the meth.
So how do we track that to Mexico?
Well, it's just brought up,
to come
through. I don't
Texas,
know how. I don't know how it crosses the border always, but it just comes up. Starting with the cartel, and it's coming up, and then the drug dealers here buy it from those guys, and then just sell it.
So had we got the wall completed, would that have slowed it down?
Nothing's ever slowed it down before, so
if that, then they just load it on a drone and fly it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have sped up any, but I mean, I feel like where there's a will, there's a way, and unfortunately, a lot of people hooked on drugs, they need it like we need oxygen, and it's really sad.
I'm not a pill popper. I mean, I've had some illness over the last 15 years, but I'm pill free.
Yeah.
We get Dr. Charles Osgood right here, my chiropractor, and he says, if you've got pain, and we use a flat tire. Okay, if every morning I had to air up my left front tire before coming here, there's an issue there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's several different ways. Okay, why don't I just go to the tire shop and get it patched or buy another tire? You see what I'm saying? So there is a way to not have to air up the tire. So if my knee constantly hurts, my shoulder, there is a solution other than popping pills day after day. Because when you take pain meds, all it's doing is just kind of numbing it for a while.
Right.
And it's one thing after another. I don't want the addiction.
And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. Those that have that mindset really can't comprehend. You can't grasp how someone can get hung on it, but it happens. We all have different build-ups and different views on how we do that. I'm like you. I would prefer not to take any if I can keep from it.
Yeah.
Only the minimal amount. However, not all people are that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the oxy users never intend on getting hung on them.
Yeah.
But it just happens. And, I've heard stories after stories of people that start on the pills, and before they know it, they're using heroin.
Yeah.
And it just goes downhill. And it's a tough cycle.
Yeah, a lot of the folks, they're not evil people. They're good people that have an addiction. I can think of a couple guys that were young, teenagers, like about the time that Bubba and I started. And I'll see them in town, and they've been in and out of prison, but they'll come up and talk to me as if we're co-workers. We've progressed through life almost together, and we've over the years developed a relationship where they'll talk about, man, I hate this life I'm living, but they're just not able to quit. So I mean, it's just sad, it really is, and I mean, some nice people. Now there's some evil people doing it, but there's some good people, kind of like Bubba talked about. There's a lot of good folks that have a legitimate illness, go to the doctor, get put on medication and become addicted, and then the only way that they can get their pills is through an illegal means. And it's that's not the meth way, but that does happen to a lot of good folks.
Talk a little bit before we take another break. Domestic violence. Stats show that we're up quite a bit, especially during COVID, quarantine, people staying home. DV violence, where y'all stand? I mean, you see a lot in the city, or is it mainly county?
I'd say I don't know that our call ratio is going up anymore for that, but I obviously have to believe, because of COVID and people being stuck in their homes for as long as they have, that those call outs go up. And I mean, we'll get calls as far as it can be a verbal argument that's overheard next door. Well, that's logged as a domestic violence, even though there was no physical abuse that has gone on. But obviously, the laws are written, and that the law takes a very strong stand on that if there is any type of physical abuse, we make an arrest on it. And our officers do a really good job of working those cases and abiding by the law to do that. But it's been tough with COVID and everything else, as much as people have been, I know, held up in their homes and it's just tough.
Hopefully some of that, though, is not that the cases of domestic violence is going up. It's people being willing to call the police when they've been abused. Where years ago, people just, if somebody's being abused, they just took it. And so hopefully it's the change in the mindset of society where they reach out to us for assistance.
We've had some of the folks from Serenity on over the year or so. Of course, with COVID, we were limited on some of the stuff we could bring in, but at one point, 97 out of every 100 cases, 97% were dropped. Mm-hmm. And the stats were that, well, I love him so much, type of thing. Drop the charges. Well, after about 6 or 7 times of a busted eye socket or a broken nose or a dislocated jaw, after about 7 times, they've had enough.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, and I think the courts are changing too, because at one time it was if the abused wanted to drop the charge, it would get dropped. But now, the courts can say that's not the case. There's evidence it occurred. We have the officer's testimony, and go forward with it. So hopefully, they're taking it out of the hands of the abused some, and I know that's happening here.
Well, it's good. It's good. Get them. I mean, I've known some folks that have gone through this. We talked to Serenity and some other places. And it's a problem.
It is.
It really is. And so
we've got some good programs like Serenity around here, though, that really, assist in helping that types of situation. And they've been around a long, long time. I don't know how many years Serenity's been around, but I've
been a while.
Watching them grow over the years to help fight this problem.
So, it's. Some of the stuff we bring up, people don't hear about that. Well, we need awareness on some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
The domestic violence, the drugs and stuff. And something else, we go back to the drug issue before we take a break. Real estate people are saying, no, get a load of this. Now, I know we've got a housing shortage. I mean, we are in a home crisis in Mountain Home. Bob was here, did the report on Monday. There's around 100 to 130 homes in the MLS. For 4 years ago, we were looking over 1,000. So there's just nothing available. But when they show houses, back before we had the crisis, lock up your meds, because they're not looking at the house. Can I use your bathroom? Lock the door, open the medicine cabinet. They don't necessarily take the bottles. They just put the pills in their pocket. Mm-hmm. And they don't care what they're getting.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and the thing, I see a for sale sign in the yard. I call the real estate people. They show me the house, and the whole intent is to steal the drugs in the prescription bottles. That's going on.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of effort, but when they're willing
I guess
to do
desperate
whatever,
people try just about anything.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like I was watching Ashley Reynolds on TV one time, and she says, "When you buy a new TV, don't put the box in the trash." Where I put it in the bed. What are you going to do with the box? Well, they tell somebody you bought a new TV.
I saw that same report. Are you kidding me?
Anyway, time for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Jim Brown Company keeps you cool when it's hot and warm when it's not. A trusted name in the mountain home community, Jim Brown Company provides timely heating and cooling installation and repairs. Our certified technicians incorporate new technology on every job to provide you with the most advanced services. At our metal fabrication shop, we handle projects big and small. We've created everything from commercial ducts to custom designs.
I'd recommend Jim Brown Company to my friends and neighbors. The reason being they have high-tech equipment, their service techs are well qualified for the job that they do, and they also send me a report after all the work is done so I know exactly what my unit's doing.
By visiting our showroom, you can learn all about our heating and cooling products. We'll educate you on your options and help you decide on the right solution. For total comfort at your home or business, choose Jim Brown Company. Quality service with a family name since 1964.
Hi, I'm Benny with Ammo Dump.
At Ammo Dump, they carry new and used firearms, large supply of shotguns, rifles, and handguns. Ammo Dump will buy, sell, or trade in your item and can special order whatever you like. They also have knives, scopes, ammo of any caliber, and provide gun cleaning and restoration. Call them today for the best competitive pricing around.
If I don't have it or can't get it because they don't make it, come and see us.
That's Ammo Dump, located next to Woodman's Package in Norfolk.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
It's a matter of taste, and at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home, delicious taste is all you will find. Enjoy signature crafted pizzas and appetizers, as well as oven-baked sandwiches, quesadillas, salads, pastas, and desserts. When it comes time to relax or meet up with friends, Brick Oven Pizza has you covered. Handmade cocktails and ice-cold beer are always available at their fully stocked bar. No time to dine in? No problem. Call in your order and use Brick Oven's convenient drive-thru window for all your to-go orders. It's a matter of taste at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home. Get the
7:51, we're visiting with Eddie Griffin, our new chief of police, and Bubba Jones, our assistant chief. And what else can we cover? What's on your minds that you need the public to know?
Well, I guess I'd like to touch on the A-LEAP. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but it's the Arkansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program.
Okay.
And, I just want the people to understand what that means. You hear a lot of talk in the media about police reform, and we a lot of the stuff that's in A-LEAP that pertains to that is part of that police reform, but we were doing it well before you heard anything about it. And two, you always hear about chokeholds. The entire time that Bubba and I have been police officers, unless it was a deadly force situation in Mountain Home, Arkansas, it was not authorized. But the A-LEAP, one thing it does, basically every aspect that you can think of, we are continuously looking to see how we can improve. If the guys are in a pursuit tonight, Bubba and I will review that pursuit to make sure it was following policy. If there's a response to resistance, a form has to be completed, and we review every single thing. We review so much policy you can't imagine. There's 188 standards in the A-LEAP program, and Bubba and I will review policy to make sure the policy doesn't need to be changed or updated, and it's a continual process just to make sure that we are doing things at the best industry standards. And so I just want the people in Mountain Home to know that we're not just hanging out looking for somebody to stop. There's so much more to police work, and from mine and Bubba's perspective, what we do is basically making sure our department is being held accountable and doing things the right way. And our guys are out working, and they're not out looking for somebody to stop there. Like you mentioned earlier, they may be helping somebody up that has fallen. They may, there's so much more to police work than out working traffic. And we've got great guys and gals, and very fortunate. And I've had a lot of people since I became chief, and before that assistant chief, asking me what it's, how is it a big change, what it's like, all this. Certainly Bubba and I are having a learning curve, but it's not a big deal. It's easy. The former chief, Corey Emanuel, had things going the right direction, and we have great employees. You
do.
When you have great officers, it makes it pretty easy for Bubba and I, and especially from my aspect towards Bubba, I'm so happy he's the assistant chief, because I just feel like we're a very balanced team. And we try to look at the whole department from a team concept. But,
so now that accreditation, I remember the city council meeting, it's been a while back, 4 or 5, maybe longer, maybe 6 months ago, perhaps. I remember that. So that accreditation means there's been some extensive training.
Correct.
All the way through the department, right?
Yes, it was a 2.5-year program, and the training is ongoing. It dictates what training we will do, like what training was a one-time training, what training is a repetitive annual training. Like every year we have to have response to resistance training, we have to have firearms training. There's like, I think 12 critical areas that we have to have training in every year. Plus, we always have ongoing training in other areas. But it just dictates what we do, and every year we have to do certain reports that we submit to the accreditation supervisor to make sure we're doing it correctly. And then every third year they actually come in and physically inspect us.
Wow.
So it just holds us accountable. Plus, accountable makes it implies that we were not doing it correctly at one time. But it's just an outside agency verifying we're doing things the right way. And if there's an area we need to improve in, they'll point it out.
Audit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it's I think it's a very good thing, and I'm not going to pull your leg. When the chief first brought it up, I thought, oh my gosh, here we go. But his vision absolutely benefited our department, the city, and the citizens of Mountain Home without question.
And credit to him. I did the same thing. When I looked at it, I thought, I'm not sure this is an achievable goal for us, looking at some of the other points and things they had to do. But over an 18-month period, I mean, we did things like we had to change our inventory on evidence. We had to build things. We had to gate some things up that weren't there. We had to bring a lot of things up in standards than what we were used to.
Wow.
And
that's impressive, though, that you accomplished it.
It was.
Yeah.
Truly was.
Good, yeah.
And it was a very big accomplishment for us. And what were you, the 12th?
I think we were the 14th agency in Arkansas to get the accreditation. And that's every police officer or every police department and sheriff's department throughout the state. We were 14 or 16. I can't remember, right in that number somewhere. But that's there's not many out there.
It's
a lot
Arkansas.
of work. A lot of work.
Wow.
And
real quick, go ahead. But what?
I was just going to say, you brought up George Floyd a while ago. Excuse me. And that was one of the first things that came out of it, and we were like, whew, glad we've already jumped that hurdle, so we're ahead of the game already in doing some of those things. So.
Real quick, the School Resource Officer Program, I stand firm in supporting that. You know that, and I'm sure Eddie does too. Your thoughts real quick. What do we got, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Just under 3 minutes before we finish the show.
I want to say something real quick before Bubba gets started. Our School Resource Officer Program is largely his baby, and it is what it is because of Bubba. And that's a big thing. I feel like we've got one of the best in the state.
Yeah, and I do too. And
I think it is the best.
I appreciate that comment, but it was a team effort. There was no one person. It took many of us to build it to where it is today. But I'll just say this: 5 years ago, we had 3 police officers. 6 years ago, we had 3 police officers in our school district, and I really figured by the time I retired, that's where it would be. But with the help of City Council, the school board, our superintendent, our mayor, we now have 6.
Yay.
Within our school district, which is unheard of, I'm telling you, around the state.
Yeah.
And not just 6 officers in the school, we have 6 officers that want to be there. They enjoy doing what they're doing. They enjoy working with the kids, and safety is their primary concern.
And I remember you and, let's see, who it was, you and
probably Tom and Eddie when
we did radio, and Tom would comment about how the friendships between the police and the students would come about,
So,
which I think is a really
safety,
good...
and as an outsider, the safety part is foremost. I know their first responsibility.
Well, sure.
But like you were saying, the relationship, the kids will talk to the resource officer and tell them more than they will tell their parents half the time, their counselors.
So, just a quick story. Many years ago, me, Tom, and Eddie had an idea to do a junior police academy. with the kids, and we really didn't know what we were going to do other than spend a week with the kids hanging out at one of the schools, and it went really, really well.
30 seconds.
Two of those kids, one of them is working now for Mountain Home Police Department.
That's excellent.
One works at the Sheriff's Department right now as well. So
That's
those are the type relationships that we built.
That's what it's all about there. That's what it's all about. Gentlemen, thank you. Congratulations. And you've got our support. Just don't pull me over. We got to go see you tomorrow.